the reason resolutions are bullshit, there's a number of reasons. First off, the idea of setting resolutions at this time of year is a habit. Okay, you can set resolutions any time of year, but one of the habits that has been formed and that we adopted when we were little, Eden, my daughter, I dropped her off at her mom's tonight for New Year's Eve. She was here, but she's there tonight for New Year's Eve. Every time around this year, people start reflecting on the previous year and the upcoming year, and they become hopeful and they become excited and energetic and enthusiastic and motivated, inspired, and this is it. Like, this is the year they're going to do it. And so this is a habit as well. And so I figure, why the hell would you wait till New Year's Eve to set resolutions? And so I think every day is New Year's Eve. Every day is New Year's Eve because every day is a new day. And New Year's Eve just happens to be a time and a date on a calendar that didn't really exist originally, but was created to give us some order and structure in this universe. So the idea that we do this on New Year's Eve just seems really silly to me. So I decided years ago that I was going to change my paradigm around New Year's Eve. I'm not a big fan of the whole New Year's Eve concept. I'm not a big fan of New Year's Eve celebrations. I probably have my own paradigm from when I was young because I didn't really like it. But now I do like New Year's Eve. Like I like all kinds of Eves. And I do what I want to do the way that I want to do it. And so I think the idea of forming habits once a year is a dumb idea. If you're setting resolutions because you think you should, or you need to, that's bullshit too, okay? The reason it's bullshit is because setting those kinds of resolutions, trying to form those kinds of habits on what you should do, or what you shouldn't do, or what you need to, that's not going to inspire you or motivate you. One of the primary reasons why habit forming fails, resolutions don't stick, is because people don't really understand how to set them properly and don't understand that the idea of habit forming has to come from your heart. It has to come from a want or from a desire. It can't come from a need, and it can't come from a should. Okay? You were should on enough when you were little, and you should on yourself enough as it is. So shoulding on yourself is not going to inspire you or motivate you to stick to the resolution. You want to stick to wants, not needs, because the doing part of you, okay? The doing part of you resides at an emotional, subconscious level. That's the doing part of you, all right? If you're just operating purely from willpower, you're going to run out of steam, all right? So that's not going to work. When you were little and you were given New Year's resolutions, well, you were given resolutions all the time. You were constantly told what you should and what you shouldn't do. If you do this, you'll get rewarded. And if you do that, you'll get punished. And so when the adults were trying to program us and try to get us to form these habits that they believe were right, and doesn't mean they were right. Those were just habits that were made up by other people that they adopted. And so you were told you should do this, you shouldn't do that. This is good, this is bad. And so we have a real negative attitude towards habit forming. When we didn't form habits, we didn't get rewarded and praised. We got criticized, we got punished, we got judged. Our parents gave us a hard time. They sent us to our room. You know, they could have just said one thing that like just cut us down for a long, long time. I've met people that their parents said and did things to them, and it's held them back their entire life. So this idea of, you know, forming habits and resolutions, if they're should-based or need-based, they're not going to stick, okay? And if you're in the habit of criticizing yourself and judging yourself and punishing yourself when you don't form the habit, oh shit, I said I wasn't going to do that, and I did. I can't believe I did that. And so I want you to think of the negative chatter, the negative conversations, the negative things you say to yourself about yourself when you're trying to keep these resolutions. It's funny, and I go to the gym, not right now, but every year around January, early on, you know, early in the morning, early on January for the first 2 or 3 weeks, there's a bunch of rats and they're on the treadmill and they're running and they're running and they're running. And then, you know what? The treadmill gets emptier and emptier, and the gym gets emptier and emptier. And that's why it doesn't work. And so the way you were taught to set habits and resolutions and form habits, that was bullshit too. The way you were taught to do it, that was bullshit.